just so you know, because this is the first time you and I have worked together, Mark Ryan, I don't normally keep it this warm in this studio. I tried turning it down, and it has not gone down.
There's a very testy relationship between me and the thermostat inside the studio. It's very similar to my first lady of GPS. She never listens to me.
No?
And have you noticed that if you don't listen to her, the instructions I said turn left. 30 feet, turn left.
Yeah,
I said turn
louder.
left. Gets a little louder. So the attitude starts to pick up a little bit.
Then there's like a sigh because they have to recalculate. Okay, take the next right. And then,
you're making this really hard on me, Mark. You're not listening to a damn thing I say. Well, if you would actually give me the fastest route to get there, I would. But it's the same with the thermostat in the building. Sometimes it works. Today is not one of those days. You and I are essentially playing like Striptease Connect 4 as the show goes along here.
I got to try to knock it down another degree.
Yeah, knock it down another degree. The layers are coming off little by little because, look, we're detoxifying nicely in the sauna that is the 97.1 studios today. In the meantime, a lot of Super Bowl discussion, some discussion on the Pistons as well today. And, Gator, I got to tell you, man.
How'd you feel about that game last night?
Embarrassed for them. Now, it's a game. You lose games over the course of the regular season, but you lost a game last night with a 16.5-point lead. You were favored by 16.5 points. It's the biggest upset in an NBA game this season. And not only was it a massive upset, you weren't losing to Trae Young and Anthony Davis,
right,
current Wizards. You are losing to Justin Champagne that's going to be at Gator Palooza for the Super Bowl. You're losing to Bilal Coulibaly. You're losing to Anthony Gill, Tristan Vukcevic.
I lost a bub.
Will Riley. You're losing to that collection of the Island of Misfit Toys. And you lost to them because your number one defense since December 1st in the NBA allowed 70 points in the second half. The bad boy Pistons would not have allowed 70 points to that bunch of merry men the entire game.
Well, Jalen Duren left the game after only playing 13 minutes, and that's something to keep an eye on. Hopefully he's okay, and it's not going to kill them. Tobias Harris did not play, did not dress, and that's part of it as well when two guys in your starting lineup are gone, basically, one before the game even starts. However, when Jalen Duren was healthy, they were getting killed. That deficit just kept growing and growing. The Pistons got off to a horrible start. They trailed 34-21 after the first quarter. And as is the case with basketball, I always tell people when they're watching, like, we're getting killed. I'm like, give it a minute. It's the NBA. Things will change. And then sure enough, you get caught up and you make it a 2-point game, and then the lead gets back down, and then they make a frantic run at it towards the end. They got it again to within 2. I think maybe even within 1 in the second half. And then it's just like they ran out of gas, and Washington couldn't miss. I mean, the fact the Wizards shot 54% from the field, 44% from three-point land, that's going to tell a story. And the Pistons were not knocking down the three-point shots. They were 9 of 33 in the game. Not good enough. It's one of those, as we say on the show, thanks to Kang, yuck, throw it in the garbage. It's a yuck, throw it in the garbage game.
But what's the why there? I mean, they showed up against Denver. Was this the look-ahead game to the Knicks?
I think
was this a letdown because of the trade deadline? Was this we're upset that you traded our guy Jaden Ivey? What's the why here?
Well, I don't think it's a letdown because they traded Jaden Ivey. I think there might be something to were they looking ahead? Was it just I think anything else you're going to say is going to be an excuse, and you don't want to hear excuses. They got outplayed last night. They weren't prepared to play. That's why they lost. They weren't prepared. They weren't ready for it. And it was clear. They weren't knocking down shots early, and they weren't defending well, and they were really not that competitive. And it's disappointing when you were 37-12 going into the game. Here it is, the trade deadline comes and goes. In fact, I would think the Pistons are probably pretty happy about the fact that they didn't gut this team at the trade deadline, or didn't, I shouldn't say gut the team, but didn't crack the core. Everybody in the core stayed. What went was Jaden Ivey, who was probably very well liked as a teammate. I would imagine so. But he was a player that wasn't contributing much to this team offensively this year because he just hasn't been right. He hasn't been healthy enough yet. I think Jaden Ivey's going to have a pretty good NBA career. It's just not going to be as a Piston. Unfortunately, this is another injury year for him. He's going to have to battle through it, and wherever he plays next year, I think he's going to be a pretty good player in the league. I mean, he was still shooting at a high 3-point percentage as a Piston this year. He just wasn't getting minutes, and he needed to find a start somewhere else. Pistons brought in somebody they thought they contribute in Kevin Huerter, and he played 6 minutes last night. I mean, it's his first game with a team. I wouldn't expect him to play like 25 minutes, and he's not going to anyway. But did they effectively make themselves better at the trade deadline? I think slightly.
I'm not so sure.
I just say slightly because I'm not giving it too much. But did they miss out on an opportunity to really make themselves better? I think they missed out on that. They could have done some things, but it would have shaken some things up too, and they didn't want to risk that. And you can respect it or not, but I think that's what happened with the Pistons at the deadline.
So I've got a couple things that bug me here. Number one, this team is 20-3 on the year when they have two players score 20 points or more. They're 17-11 when they have one. They're damn near unbeatable when they have that second score. The problem is they've played 50 games. That happens only 46% of the time. The big flashing light is if you add a score, this could really, really help you. And they did not. The other thing is, look, I understand enjoying the fact that you are perhaps the most overachieving team in the NBA, but why did you enter saying, bar none, we're not trading Tobias Harris? No scenario where we're going to trade Ron Holland. Don't you have to be flexible like you are with a rundown of a show to go where the wind takes you? And when Jaren Jackson is available, you're still going to clutch the pearls of we're not trading Tobias Harris when you see the price tag that he went for? Hey, man, look, I love Ron Holland as much as the next guy. You don't know what he's going to be. He's an 8-point-per-game bench spark plug. You're not willing to move that to give you the score that makes you damn near unbeatable? I don't understand that.
Well, I don't know what was a possibility for them. If Jaren Jackson was a possibility and that they would have had to parted with Tobias Harris, would I have done it? Yeah, I would have. They value the chemistry on this team a lot. And keep in mind, Tobias, I don't really care so much about the game last night. It's a one-off. And by the way, they had two guys score 20 points last night and they still lost.
And they lost.
Not to trash the stat. I think it's an interesting stat to look at. To have that extra guy there that's going to be consistently scoring 20 is your point. And that, Jalen Duren is close to that. He's an all-star, and he didn't play much last night, and they need him to stay healthy to do that. And if he were healthy, would they have been able to withstand more of that last night? Maybe. But they didn't. And the fact that a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. gets traded and the return that they get isn't much, it's going to have people questioning. But in the long run, being the rest of the season, I look at, okay, where do they stand right now in the Eastern Conference? Did other teams get better? Because that was going to be the big fear, was that Giannis was going to get traded somewhere in the East and put some other team over the edge. And the Wizards made some amazing moves this year with Trae Young and Anthony Davis, but neither is helping this team right now, and the Wizards aren't going to make the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. Harden going to Cleveland is an interesting watch because statistically James Harden's a great player. But is he poison when he gets to another team? Because he puts up his points. He's going to be a stat filler. He does it all.
He's got such a shelf life everywhere he goes, right?
Right, but it's like he's never happy where he's at, and he's constantly being traded or just wanting to move on. And, here he moves on to Cleveland. Cleveland gives up a good piece going the other way in Garland. But is Cleveland, they are the odds-on favorite now to win the East, but I don't believe it. I don't think that they're better than the Pistons. So when the dust is settled now on the trade deadline, and I think the Pistons are still the top team in the Eastern Conference. And because we saw them beat Denver with the Joker, can they compete with any team in the NBA? They can. I don't know if they'll end up beating, if they have a great chance of beating Oklahoma City if they get to the finals. But there's no guarantee that Oklahoma City's getting to the finals either. There's no guarantee the Pistons are. But I still think the Pistons are the best team in the Eastern Conference.
And the disrespect, the number of articles that I've read, well, the Pistons are the 1 seed because Tatum has been out and because Tyrese Halliburton has been out. Have you seen how bad Indiana is? Looking at the odds, the third best odds to win the East. Guess what they are as of today to win the championship? The 8th best odds to win the championship. I mean, you've got the Rodney Dangerfield clip, I get no respect, in your ear canal. I don't understand where the disrespect is coming from. Now, I'm still annoyed that they didn't do more at the deadline, but to me, this James Harden thing doesn't move the needle at all. I think that's an awful trade for Cleveland. You give up a piece that has, one good postseason run left, maybe? And a guy that turns into Justin Herbert when he's in the postseason?
Oh, boy.
And we've all had that friend that dates women like James Harden dates teams, right? We all have that guy. We all know that guy. That's what you gave up for a 26-year-old All-Star, for maybe one or two good postseason runs. What does this do for them exactly?
Well, it's a move that I think a lot of Piston fans would like to see the Pistons do. Not that they want James Harden, but they want that move that, okay, now you've got a better shot at getting to your goal. Had the Pistons added Jaren Jackson Jr., that would have been that type of move. Yes, you would have had to give up something to get it. But if you were uncomfortable with doing that for whatever reason, it seems like they really value this core group of players. And I mean, for this team right now, part of the core for this team this season is Tobias Harris. I don't think he's part of the core after this season. I don't think they're going to re-sign him, but maybe he wants to come back and he'll come back at a discounted price. I don't know. Tobias is a good player, but he's not untouchable. I wouldn't have imagined, and yet that's the path the Pistons have chosen.
I think this beats the offer that Memphis accepted. Tobias, Ivy, Holland, first-round pick.
Well, geez.
I think that beats it.
That's a massive
but I would have made that deal.
I don't think I would have done that. That's a lot to give up.
Jackson over Harris, obviously. You're losing Ivy anyway. Holland is the only extra piece that you're losing.
I like Ron Holland perhaps a lot more than you do. But I think you can give up picks and maybe you still make that trade if you give up. I guess the problem is that you're not, if you're Memphis, what are you getting in return? You're not getting somebody that you're going to hang on to unless you add a Ron Holland, and that's what makes it uncomfortable. 248-539-9797 is the telephone number. Did the Pistons do enough at the trade deadline? Do you still think they're the team to beat in the Eastern Conference? Or has somebody else emerged? Are you worried about Cleveland? Do you think that New York is just, they're going to get it back, that they're going to put a run here in the last 30 games of the season? We'll talk about it next year, 97.1.